In this episode of Gareth Jones on Speed, I've got warm weather clothes, big boots, a backpack, and I've even got a bobble hat, because I'm going to Wales Rally GB. Hello, welcome to Gareth Jones on Speed. I'm Gareth, and as so many times before on this programme, I have to start with, I'm driving to Wales, because I am. I go there for lots of reasons, but this time I'm going for the British round of the World Rally Championship, which is really exciting for me, because I think the last time I went to a rally was probably something like 1976, maybe, when I was 15. Roger Clark RS2000. It was called the Lombard RAC Rally then. It was a different age, and it came to North Wales then. I remember going to see stages in the Gwydir Forest, I think, and also in Deeside, curiously as well, in Harden, on a disused part of an airfield where I saw the cars come through. It's all really quite foggy now. It was a long time ago, and there's no excuse whatsoever for me not having gone to a rally since then. So that's what I'm doing, and I thought I'd get proper FIA accreditation so I can record audio there and maybe catch a driver if we're lucky, or someone who would be nice to talk to. I don't know, we'll see, because I am a rally virgin, really. I've never gone to a rally on my own, and I don't really know how the whole thing plays out. I've done a little homework, glean what I can from the WRC website and the Danesure Wales Rally GB, as it's called in English. What do we call it in Welsh? Rally Cymru Prydain, perhaps? That's the direct translation, I suppose. So we'll see. I've got to go to Deeside first of all. Now, this is where the rally is headquarters, where they have their sort of paddock, I suppose is a better word for it in rallying. Forgive me for not knowing the correct rallying terms and using circuit terms, but this is where the cars are worked on and prepared, and fans are given access to come and see them all parked up in one place. Now, whether the cars will be there by the time I get there, I don't know, because I know there's a stage in a place called Pince, Prince's Land, which is near Rhyl, a bit further west. So I do have to check in with the accreditation people, take a view what's going on there, and then I'll try and make the Pince stage if I can. If I can't, don't worry, there'll be lots of stuff I will be doing. I definitely want to be in a forest, and I'm going to try and seek out something called Elvin's Corner. I nearly said Gwyndaf's Corner there. Gwyndaf is Elvin's dad, of course. Elvin ap Gwyndaf Evans, I suppose you should be if you're a Welsh purist, or just Elvin ap Gwyndaf, but Elvin Evans is the name that he uses, using the contemporary non-Welsh, non-patronymic format. Is that what they call it? Forgive me, I don't know. So yeah, lots of support for Elvin, a North Walian driver driving in a World Rally Championship round in North Wales. He'll know his way around, and he'll be good. I met his father once, spoke to him in Welsh to motorsport at the NEC. When was that? 1990, perhaps 92, I don't know. But yeah, I'll be shouting for him, and of course shouting for Toyota, who've returned to the World Rally Championship, and are also the official car suppliers, I believe, for Wales Rally GB. So there are lots of cars being driven around supporting the event. Many of them, don't know if all of them, many of them will have engines built in the Toyota Deeside engine plant, which is the HQ of Wales Rally GP. So it all makes perfect sense. And it's the reason I'm driving this particular car up to Wales Rally GB. And that particular car is a Toyota CHR. I have to concentrate to remember the name of the car. I struggle with HRV, CRV, CRX. None of those are even Toyotas. So a CHR. What's the etymology of that nomenclature? If I can use two very old-fashioned English terms, the etymology of that nomenclature is coupe-high rider, or coupe high riser, or coupe hybrid recovery something. You can mean whatever you want, but one of the interpretations is coupe high rider, because the CHR, I don't know if you've seen it, this sort of middle-sized crossover that Toyota are making now, is really, really eye-catching. I love the way this car looks, and it appears I'm not alone, because yesterday I published a picture on Twitter of the key ring for this car, which has a little key fob on it, a key ring that is pretty much the insignia of the USS Enterprise from the original series, Star Trek. That sort of shield with a scallop cut out the bottom asymmetrically. Beautiful. I thought, I like that. So I just posted a picture of that, didn't post a picture of the car, but the responses I got unanimously all asked the same thing. I love the way that car looks, Gareth. Please tell us all about it. I hope it's as good as it looks. Well, it looks fantastic. I really, really think so. It hides its bulk well, because I imagined it as a much smaller car than it actually is. I thought it was a rival for the Nissan Juke. That smaller, almost Fiesta-y class. Mini, you might say. But no, it's more Qashqai size. And it hides its bulk well by having a low roof. High doors, low roof, to give it a coupe stance and a sort of sloping hatchy rear. And the clever thing is that they hide the fact that it's a four-door, which really makes it look more like a coupe. They hide the rear doors by disguising the rear door handles in a little white panel right at the top of the car, not on the door, so you can't see that there are handles there, and it hides that, makes it look more of a coupe. And it is a coupe. That's the first thing I noticed when I got in. You do sit with your feet sort of straight forward, a bit like the Italian driving position that I'm very fond of. And they say it's a low roof, but it depends what your interpretation of low is, because for many years now we've been driving taller cars, thank you Jaro, and so the standard saloon height, slightly larger you might say than a coupe, is still considered low these days, whereas MPVs and 4x4s have much higher headroom. And I could sit in this car, and I've got the seat set up high. I like to sit fairly high to be able to see all the corners of the car, and there's actually enough room for me to have the gas top air of 1986 in here without touching the ceiling. There is. So it's not as low as it appears. I think they've done some clever tall side bodywork and medium-sized glass to disguise it. And it is a really good-looking, detailed car, really purposeful. And of course, if it looks good, it'll sell well, and this car is selling well. I believe there's a waiting list for it. Don't quote me on how long that is or how verifiable that is, but it has been suggested to me that if you want one, you've got to wait a couple of months at least, maybe 3. Now this car, the CHR, Chris, let's call it Chris, although Tweak might be a better name. I'll explain why. Tweak is a character in South Park who's really nervous, drinks a lot of coffee, he's really concerned about everything. My first impression of this car was it was a little hypersensitive. It's got all sorts of proximity alerts which beep all the time. It's quiet at the moment on the motorway. I'm doing 62 miles per hour in the slow lane. We're all doing about the same speed, not much is going on. And Chris has stopped beeping. But in London it beeped as every lane that had been rewritten with bitumen, it didn't like that. It was concerned by islands in the middle of the road, whether there was a car 2 lanes to your left. It was a bit oversensitive. However, it's recovered. But it's an interesting car because, like I say, the engine for this car quite possibly, I haven't confirmed this yet, quite possibly was built in Toyota's Deeside factory. This car is built in a number of places. Turkey is one of them. Thailand is another. I would imagine for the European market we get the Turkish built cars, and they get engines shipped out from the UK. The engines that they make in Deeside go to Burniston largely in Derbyshire, where they build the Auris and the Auris Hybrid. Oh, I'm passing an FF. I'm overtaking a Ferrari FF with no registration. Oh, I can't see the registration. It's been carried on the back of a low loader, uncovered. Beautiful. It's red. Oh, how I love that car. Right, back to the car I'm in, which isn't as glamorous, but it does have a bit of sort of FF purposefulness about it. It's a crossover, you know, so it's a bit like a coupe with big boots on, which I think it does very successfully. Some cars don't. The BMW X6, for instance, that's almost hateful, that car, isn't it? There's something very wasteful about it I cannot stomach. Perhaps the only car worse than the X5. Makes the X5 look reasonable. But this thing, Chris, the CHR, or Tweak, because he's a bit oversensitive, it's cool. Honestly, you guys all talked about it on Twitter. Neighbours wanted to ask me about it, and they see lots of cars. They were really taken by its presence, and it's white. So, you know, white's not always the most flattering colour for a car. It's like a car in white is almost like seeing it naked. And it looks lovely, looks great. How it is to drive, I will tell you. I've only done 70 odd miles in it so far, most of that through London, leaving North London to get on the motorway, and on the motorway on a Thursday, which is horrible, I'm afraid. But luckily this car has driver assistance, of course. It has cruise control. You can set the distance so it will maintain a position. I was using it earlier on, it worked very well. And yeah, it does that thing where it slows down unnecessarily occasionally, but better that than the other way. It doesn't have any lane holding ability. I can't take my hands off the wheel. It doesn't have level 2 autonomy. It has driver assistance, which is funny because it wasn't that long ago the ability just to do the basics of driver assistance was astonishing, and now we ask for an awful lot more. Okay, I'm going to find out what this car is like to drive around North Wales, and you'll discover it too on this episode of Gareth Jones on Speed as we go rallying. Lovely, great. It's all happening in the Rally Village. It's a bit like Le Mans. There's a Ferris wheel going round. There's lots of manufacturers with their trackside hospitality units and marketing units, and long walks. It's as if an entire paddock has been parachuted in. It is quite a big operation. I haven't got long here to tell you about it. Just passing the Citroen Abu Dhabi Racing hospitality. Big enough to rival anything in international circuit sport. Very impressive. Hyundai got a temporary building up. They're really going for it. They're not messing about. Yeah, I've got to get a hoof on because I've just crossed the border from England into Wales, Deeside, on the banks of the River Dee, where I grew up. I'm from Holywell, as you know, just a few miles away from here. And I've got to drive from here, west, along the coast, to Rhyl, and then just on the other side of Rhyl, which is where Tir Pince is. Tir Pince is, as I understand it, a horse racing facility. They do, what do they call them, traps? There, you know, those little lightweight buggies, two-wheel things. You probably see it on S4C if you ever bump into S4C, S4C, that's how it's pronounced, the Welsh Channel 4. You might see a bit on there. It's a sport that happens in North Wales. Yep, we have a bit of motorsports, and we have a bit of horse racing, and we have a bit of rugby. I've actually lost my car. It's going well. I wasn't paying attention when I arrived. Oh no, I haven't lost the car. Yeah, I had a very long journey from London. It was 6 hours, which is longer than it normally is to this part from my part, and I was concerned that I wasn't going to get to the media centre before it was too late. But luckily, the very helpful professional young woman working there was literally about to seal up a box and go, and she saw me. Oh, no, I can help sort you out. So she did. Right, so I'm at the car now, in the car. Let's go see some rallying.
Gareth Jones on speed!
Rally update. I've made it to Pince, but it's pretty chaotic here. Pince is west of Rhyl, and it's a holiday village. There's caravans and caravans and caravans and caravans bigger than Le Mans, and this is where the good people of England, Ireland, Scotland and the rest of Wales come on holiday. So it's pretty busy here because it's half term. There's a semi-permanent fairground to my right. There's lots of searchlights pointing up in the sky, and I couldn't get into the media car park despite having a media car pass. When I arrived, I was told, sorry mate, it's full, you have to find somewhere to park. So I did, and with 1,000 other cars all parked on double yellow lines, so I'm hoping that Conwy Borough Council are going to be lenient in their parking application of rules this evening. Either that, or they're going to make a huge amount of money from fines. We'll find out. Let's hope that the former is the better option. Oh, well, let them, it's good business, let them park. As long as people park sensibly. Right. I can hear cars, and so can you. I was concerned that with the added extra time that I might miss all the action. I have a feeling I'm going to miss the big guns, the top cars. But I will see some action here, I sincerely hope. It does remind me of Le Mans, the scale of it, you know, 40-minute drive from Deeside to here, long walk through. Oh, hang on, where's my pass? Thank you. Through security, here we go. Right, what have we got here? Well, hard standing, you know, I'm not standing in gravel or mud, not just yet, we're on concrete. Lots of, what do they call these? Semi-permanent trailers, don't they? Semi-permanent homes around, and burgers, and a quiet, expectant crowd who are lined up against the barriers watching a lit arena. Bit of pyrotechnic action there. There are three. One of the Hyundais just went past spectacularly. Motor racing at its most visceral at night, and it was wet along the A55 here. It was absolutely there's a Welsh Springer Spaniel the way they are, slightly shorter leg than the English Springer Spaniel. It was horrible weather, so there's been a spray of moisture put down, and the area that the cars are running on, which is a trotting track or a horse racing track, is wet. There are screens. and it's all rather exciting. I can't see very much. I can see what's going on the screens, and you get a moment as a car goes past because there are no tribunes for us to stand on, and we're all at the same height. Now, I did pack a chair with me, a camping chair, but that's no good for this part of the event. What can I see?
So, we are good to go. Gareth will be next. It is Michelangelo sitting alongside him. 17 career wins for a very likeable, very popular man, but no title.
So it's Yari Mari Latvala. Here he comes in his little Toyota. Good timing. Over a yump right in front of me. Oh man, that's why everybody's here. That makes sense.
This is good.
Perfect four-wheel drift.
I mean, he's such a nice chap. He's been around now for 15 years.
You can see the cars on the far side of the loop. It's just the big oval, basically. It's like IndyCar racing. He turns off the oval at the end and through a very slow section. Oh, not that slow. Hey, a bit quicker than I'd take that corner. There's sort of an infield, that's an outfield, and I'm guessing he'll rejoin this section in a moment. Full sort of circular donut thing going on. This is good. And here he comes.
He's on the power now. Blast out, but he's going to run the fly finish. And not waiting to see where that's going to put him. We're waiting up there. It's the quickest. It's a 1:10.1. 7/10 faster than anybody else. How about that? Wow. Fantastic. Well done, Yoga.
Well, I timed that well because that was quite a performance by Yari Mati in the, I suppose what you could call the local team, unless you count Ford, of course. There goes one of the Fiestas, and a rather nice thing just happened. A chap came over to me, I'm just standing watching, and said, "Keep up the good work with the podcast. We love Gareth Jones on Speed and Sniff Petrol." A chap called Tom and Lisa with him, who have travelled over from Leeds, the other side of the Pennines, and they got up at 4 this morning, I think he said, and he's going to be at Meherin tomorrow from about 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock, I think he said, in the morning, to see the action there. And that, I think, is where Elvin's Corner is. Interesting. I've now found a rudimentary tribune. Yeah, grandstand, a little sports grandstand with cover, with lots of people on, a little higher up. You want to be on the back row really, but the back row looks pretty full, so I don't know if I can do that. Let's see if I can find a position where I'm a couple of inches higher than I am now and I can see what's going on. There you go, that's a bit more like it. It's not exclusively male event this. There are lots of families around, lots of young kids wearing Toyota Gazoo racing flags as capes, lots of little ones in headphones, older people, younger people, all ages really. It's good. It's a family event. There we go, the flames go and the car appears. Yes, they've added showbiz to rallying, of course, since I watched the cars going round, and that's no bad thing, as long as they stop before they start adding that over-dramatic introduction that they used at the American Grand Prix the other week. Man, that was embarrassing. But a bit of showbiz in motorsport is fair enough. I think the French do it very well. I think the build-up to Le Mans is essentially pomp, circumstance and showbiz, and that's amazing. It's emotional and powerful, and it adds to the passion, because all these people who turned up here care about this sport, because you don't go out on a wet Thursday in North Wales unless you really want to see something exciting and you love cars. I think I may have come to the right place. The cars continue to go round that I'm going to call it a day, because this has been a great introduction to rallying. It's nice to be able to just drive somewhere fairly close and watch a World Championship event taking place, minutes away from where I was born. Makes you very proud. But this, of course, is a homogenised version of rallying, which is, in a very closed, small environment. And we're not really seeing the cars at their best, even though they are yumping a little bit. To really see the Wales Rally GB, you've got to go into the forests. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm walking from Pince now back towards my car, and I think this is probably a smart strategic move, because the traffic chaos as everybody tries to leave here at the same time at 9:30. It means I probably won't even get to bed before 1,000 o'clock. I want to get up at 1:30 tomorrow, so I can get some action out in the wilds of wild Welsh Wales. So I shall sign off for now and leave you the happy sounds of the fairground and the odd highly tuned rally car in the distance. The nice German registered Hyundai World Rally car just rolls past me. Good morning. I'm back at Deeside. I worked out that with it being Friday, I wouldn't be able to get from my brother's house down to Meherin, which is way sort of Welshpool, Aberystwyth way, and back in time for a thing I've got to do this evening. So no rally action today, but I thought I'd come and do a bit of homework. Come back to the World Rally Centre. Oh my God, that was Tommy Mackinnon. Just drove past in a Vauxhall. Vectra estate, or Insignia, what's it called? Yeah, so I've come back to the Rally Village. I know there's not going to be very much going on here right at the moment, because all the cars are out rallying in deepest, darkest Powys. So I thought I'd come here and get the flavour of the Rally Village, because it was fairly closed up yesterday when I arrived. And as I arrived, there were cars being ferried on the back of low loaders, an RS1600 and RS2000 in red, appropriately enough, like Roger Clark, if I remember right. And then that lovely Hyundai. And as I was walking in, I was thinking, I wonder if there's going to be anyone here to talk to, anyone at all. And I walked past Dave Richards. Can start. Of course, Dave Richards going to be here. He is probably North Wales' greatest motor export, with the possible exception of Elvin Evans, of course, but more on that later, perhaps. So here we are at the village. I was comparing it to being at the village at Le Mans when I arrived. It really is quite a grand scale. Hyundai have got a temporary building that is bigger than your street. Yeah, I'd say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 houses worth. It's a garage where they prepare and repair the cars. Quite an impressive setup. 2, possibly 3 floors at the highest bit. There's lots of stands as well. Citroen, all the competitors, Hyundai, lots of school kids here. The eSports WRC game is on display. You can come and play that. Bit of integrated rallying. I bet most young people's experience of rallying probably comes from the virtual environment. That's their way in. In my day, you had to put on a bobble hat and go and stand in the middle of a forest in middle at night. But good, so people can do it virtually. They probably become very expert at it in every level except the real world level. It's just a matter of transitioning there. Toyota's setup here is not quite as impressive as Hyundai's, but immaculate. Toyota Gazoo Racing. They've got a more open plan temporary building, only 1 floor, but it's long. It's very long. Very, very smart. They always say that rallying is visceral and lots of other motorsport is a bit anodyne, and yet there's a level of professionality to the crew setups here, which you see in international motorsport in any category, you know, serious stuff. Of course, budget affects motorsport, and it appears to me that M Sport don't quite have the money that Hyundai and Toyota do. Not surprisingly, they're a manufacturer supported, but they're not a manufacturer team, are they? They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 large, substantial gazebos. Very substantial, with, you know, a bit of plastic underfoot, and it's less anodyne than the manufacturers next door. You can see that lots of crew standing around waiting for cars to come back, needing service and repair. All the supporting companies are here as well. It's great to see Elvin Evans, by the way, I should say, in the DMAC part of the N Sport facility. Big Welsh flag on Elvin's pit box, which is good news. I might even take a picture of that. Why not? Stand by. I'm such a fanboy. There's a rather nice rally prepared van, Ford Transit MSRT road technology. I don't think it's the people who are doing van sports before. MSRT R-Spec, I do like the look of that. That's a very good contender for a Le Mans support vehicle for us. That is. I'm enjoying the quiet of the Rally Village. It's almost like having a private show. It's kind of nice. You don't have to stand in front of people and fight your way through. Actually, to be fair to M Sport, they have a huge footprint here, horizontal, not vertical. I just found another 3 tents of theirs and their hospitality unit. You know, they're Britain's leading rally company. They're going to have a presence, aren't they? I put my big boots on because I was expecting it to be a bit crinkly underfoot. It's not too bad, actually, not too bad. It's hard standing, it's not paved where we are in the Rally Village, but it's gravel, which is appropriate, of course, for what is essentially a gravel rally. The sound of excited young people as the World Rally Championship Wales Rally GB, to give it its entire and full title, does a bit of outreach. There is a pavilion here at the Rally Village called The Big Bang, which gets my attention, of course, because I used to present a programme called The Big Bang, but also I've hosted events for this organisation, The Big Bang, which promotes science and engineering STEM subjects for young people, and I've said it for years that there's plenty of that in motorsport. In fact, it's the reason I am interested in motorsport, because, as you know, I love science, engineering and technology. Lots of interactive opportunities for young people here. TechniQuest, which is the local Glyndŵr University science outreach sort of play centre, you might say, here. Coleg Cambria, Welsh College, Airbus are represented here because, of course, they manufacture just a quarter of a mile away from where I'm standing right now. But I just had a lovely chat with a chap called Ian Davis, who works for Toyota. He's worked for Toyota for 25 years, since they started manufacturing engines here in North Wales. And he confirmed for me that the engine in my CHR was indeed built where we are. So I have brought coals back to Newcastle, you might say, or Welsh steel back to Wales. Although, is it Welsh steel? Almost certainly not, who knows. I've come outside because my eye's been drawn to a Toyota GT86 that's parked outside the Big Bang Pavilion. I do like the GT86, as you know. I've driven it twice, once to Le Mans and once in a test in Spain on a circuit, and I know what it's capable of. And this one I'm particularly drawn to, as it's in the colours of the Welsh flag. They had a competition to have someone in Wales design a Wales Rally GB colour scheme for the Toyota GT86, and a 12-year-old boy from Ysgol Gyfun Llangefni, which is on Anglesey, Ynys Môn, called Rheinald Jones. no relation. And he designed a livery with a red dragon painted with the white and green down the side of a GT86, and they've wrapped it on a car here, and it looks absolutely fantastic. I've seen lots of cars in Welsh Dragon paint schemes, but this one is fantastic because it looks like a kid drew it, and it's cool, just cool. And having the World Rally Championship here in Wales is very cool. Wales Rally GB is in fact 3 events, I suppose, apart from the, or 5 I suppose, the various levels of the World Rally Championship, including the Junior Championship. There's also the National Rally, the Wales National Rally, which goes on here. So I'm walking around the paddock looking at some of the national cars and some of the historic cars as well. And I have to say, the historic cars have got me all of a quiver. There's an RS 1600 in a sort of a Ford blue with a Welsh driver or co-driver called P. Wakely on the side, Welsh flag. P. Thomas is the co-driver for another darker blue RS 1600. Man, they look incredible. And then you stumble across a bunch of Subarus, all with Scottish drivers or Scottish co-drivers, of course. You can see why, can't you? And, you know, then you look left and, there's an Evolution 9, you know. Every car has a story to tell, and these are, you know, 10-year-old, 20-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old cars in some cases, and still rallying. That's great, isn't it? That's hardcore. That's like jogging when you're 70. Mind you, you probably had your hips replaced 3 times.
Gareth Jones on speed!
Hello, it's Saturday, and I'm driving through Dolwydd Elan, which is on the A470 in Snowdonia, heading down towards Gartheiniog, where hopefully I can catch some serious forest rally action. And it's particularly exciting because the last time I checked, after the first day's running, Elfyn Evans, the local boy, was leading the rally, the first Brit in a Brit-built car to lead the rally in I don't know how many years, which is extremely exciting. And yesterday, when I was at Deeside Rally Village, it was glorious and sunshiny. And of course, today, as I go down into Snowdonia, it's damp, 100% grey cloud cover, moisture on the surface of the road. Yes, this is definitely Rally GB, almost dare I say it, Lombard RAC Rally weather, and that's good. Now, I've got to actually find Gartheiniog. It's about 70 miles from where I was staying last night in Conwy, and so it's a bit of a schlep down there. And I've got a bit of a problem. I've got the geo coordinates. Oh, I'm just passing Dolwydd Elan Castle. Totally Game of Thrones, yes. Sorry, I've got the geo coordinates for the stage that I'm looking for today, and I've tried entering them into the sat-nav on this car, and it allows me to put in the northern coordinate 53 and all that, yes. But when I select the western element of the coordinates and try to input that, it starts with a 3. And there is no option to start with a 3. The sat-nav doesn't recognise it. It thinks it all starts with 1. Is there something I'm misunderstanding about coordinates here? I wish Zog were here. He would know. I'm no geocacher, baby. So I'm afraid I'm slightly befuddled. Now, luckily, my telephone does recognise those coordinates. So what I'm going to do is when I get close, I'll pull over, input them into my phone and use that for the final section. I know I'm going to get to Machynlleth and reevaluate there, see what I can do. So hopefully I can actually find what I'm going for today. So the car I'm in, the CHR, slightly let me down, or perhaps it's just a user thing. I'm sure it is. There's something about geo-coordinates I don't understand. I've tried 03, it doesn't recognise 03 either, believe me, I've tried it all. Or maybe it needs another disc putting in the car, who knows? I don't know. Disc? Do they still program sat-navs with CDs? I don't think they do. This car doesn't appear to have a CD. On the sound system, by the way, it's pretty good. It's not fantastic, but it's pretty good. Also, I'm driving it in sport mode now. Oh, I am on the A470 in Snowdonia. It would be rude not to. And it's actually not bad. If you drive around in normal mode in this car, yeah, it's a bit of an eco car. It wants to run around in the highest gear possible and be economical. But if you select sport mode, then the electric motor does more in terms of helping you accelerate than simply recover energy and offer efficiency. So I found when there's charging the battery that the electric motor is very good at getting the car rolling from low speeds. Your 0 to 40 in this is good. Handling, it keeps roll very nicely under control, keeps pitch under control. It's a bit inert, the steering, it's a bit lifeless is too strong a word, but it's not as communicative as you might hope. Overall, it's not quite Golf GTI standards, no, but it's sort of Peugeot GT standards. It will turn in. It's got a good front end, very good front end. I like that. Back end is okay, front end tucks in nicely, very good. So yeah, learning a lot about this car. One, the sat-nav has baffled me with geo-coordinates. Two, it's not a bad car to drive through Snowdonia. You know, it's not a Porsche Boxster. And if you interpret the throttle as an instruction for how quick you'd like to be going soon, as opposed to make my engine go faster, then it makes it easier to drive. Because it's a CVT, a lot of people when they drive these cars have a real issue with a disconnection between the throttle and the engine noise. It screams and then eventually finds the right ratio on its twin cones and only then starts to gain momentum. So, you know, stop thinking it as a lever to open a carburettor. That stopped happening a long time ago. And just work with the car. But if you're in sport mode, pressing the throttle tells the electric motor to help the internal combustion motor and the CVT transmission. So yeah, just think of it as an instruction set. Right, I've come down into Gartheiniog now, and I'm actually driving behind another Toyota which I've picked up on the journey, which is a Toyota RAV4. Not a car that you'd expect to be driven with gusto, but it has been driven with some gusto. I'm wondering if this is someone connected to Toyota in some way, or the rallying, and is very keen to get to stage today. But having said that, the stage is still 40 miles away from where I am in Gartheiniog, in fact more than that. So this could just be someone who lives in Wales and enjoys an open road. And who doesn't enjoy an open road? And who doesn't enjoy a rally stage? So let's hope I can get to a position and that we can have some rally action. My plans have been slightly thwarted. I arrived at Gartheiniog only to be told that the car park was full. I pointed out that I've got a media car park pass, and he said, no, it's closed now, I'm afraid, can't access to it, the stage is close to starting. And so I was advised to turn around and head up to the next stage, Deeside, which is what I'm doing now in a convoy of cars being driven rather quickly to make sure that we don't miss the action altogether. I've got a feeling that with Elvin leading, that there's even more interest than there even was 24 hours ago, 48 hours ago. And it's oversubscribed now because there were cars parked all the way down the road to the official car park, all down either side of what was marked by the police as a clearway. And a police motorbike had just pulled over and was about to give tickets to dozens of cars. So I do hope North Wales Police aren't seeing this as a revenue opportunity. And it's tricky because most people won't know what to do, because there was no one around to say, no, you can't park there. Although, to be fair, it was signed clearway, so you'd think, as the police had put an extra sign there, they were trying to tell you something. But those poor people, I hope they don't come back to tickets. That would be very disappointing. And I hope I manage to get to the Dovenant stage, because if I don't see any action, that'll be very disappointing. The Gareth Jones on Speed coverage of Wales Rally GB continues in the next episode of Gareth Jones on Speed, featuring the wonderful tones of some glorious cars in the forest. Join me for that. That programme will be published 48 hours after this one. See you there.
To send us an email, see pictures, get song lyrics, join our Facebook fan site, follow us on Twitter, or to find out about sponsorship opportunities, go to garethjones.tv. Gareth Jones on Speed is made in London by Whiz Bang.
Gareth Jones on Speed!